Hey! And we're here! Happy Monday, everyone. I hope I didn't spook you guys. If the audio is too much, just let me know. Just gonna make sure there's a few things that are working as they shall. Hello, hello, welcome! Hi! Seeing some familiar faces, well, familiar names. Ha! The names are basically your faces at this point. But hi, welcome in. Happy Monday. How are you guys doing? Hello. Ah, fellow! Yes! Yes, yes, yes! Hello, hello, Dragon Kid Studios. Welcome! I wanted to fix or figure out why the notification didn't go off. That makes me curious, but I'll have to fix that another time. Yes, yes. This is really exciting. I hope you guys are ready to learn and maybe be validated. Hi, welcome in. Welcome, welcome. It is I, Poette. I'm very, very nice to meet all of y'all, everyone here, lurking and listening. I suppose we can get started. I will have to figure out why the alerts are the way they are. I'm doing well, thank you. I hope everyone here is doing well too. There's a Pikachu with lots of X's. That's a very old school username, but hello, welcome. Hi, Cappy. Hello, Lay. We got Dragon Kid Studio. Nimby. Hello, hello. We got King driving on back. And safe travels, obviously. Yeah, so today we're going to be talking about asexuality. What in the world? Why? Because today, well, depending on where you are in the world, it is Monday, April 6th, and that is International Asexuality Day. So that is why we are here today, and it is gonna be a good day today. I suppose we could start off with some introductions. Oh, there it is. The notification worked. Yay. Happy, 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 happy. Very cool. Thank you. Thank you for the subscription. Yeah. Cool, cool, cool. Very nice. Yay. So it is a day, like any other day. We will do some introductions. Yeah. If you feel comfortable, you're more than welcome to also introduce yourself in the chat. If there is a nickname, an alias you wish to be called, you can go ahead and do that. Say, hi, my name is, your name. Please call me this. And then please, please, please include your pronouns. Yes, we'll practice sharing our pronouns. It can be as simple as I am Poette. You can call me Po. And my pronouns are they, them. Again, you don't have to, but if you'd like to, interact and share. And, it can be kind of more cozy and make it feel like, there's real people here. And, it's feels more like we're in a space that's shared as opposed to like just kind of anonymous. We don't know who is who. So, okay, username. Got it. He, him. Sounds good. Oh yeah, I have been working on that. I think it's a little subliminal for me. There's this ongoing kind of a joke where I would sometimes, or I have in the past, mix people's usernames up or refer to someone, and it's like, it's like when I don't know why people do it. There might be some research on it why people do that. Parents do it all the time. It doesn't justify it. It's just like a weird thing. Like if you have siblings, maybe this is a relatable experience. Your parent might call you your other sibling's name, and you're like, no, I'm me. But anyways, we should move forward instead of we should move forward with today's topic. I do want to give my introduction just so that you get a vibe for who I am and what I'm doing for today. And yeah, so this is going to be my quick introduction. Obviously, it's Asexual Asexuality Awareness Day. So in honor of that, I did want to mention that I am on the Ace-Spec. And for those of you guys who know, you know. If you don't know, Ace-Spec is asexuality spectrum. Yes, yes. There's levels of and degrees to which you could be asexual. Yes. And I feel like I've been this way for as long as I can remember. When I think back on all of my lived experiences, it's just kind of been there, and I just never acknowledged it until I finally acknowledged it, and I'm like, oh, I'm this way. Maybe this is like a common experience. Maybe people have just always known, and things like that. Pretty sure so demisexual is also kind of on that spectrum. So we're gonna go over kind of how the asexuality kind of is an umbrella term for these other terms. So I don't usually make my sexual orientation like the first thing someone knows about me. Sometimes it's, you can kind of tell a person's vibe, like, oh, they dress or look a certain way. Maybe, there's a lot of assumptions. So it's like, well, what does a asexual person or a person on the asexual spectrum look like? There's really no look. You just really just have to ask, or well, I mean, that's kind of invasive, but I don't know, you just eventually figure it out. So I don't really just put it out there that, hey, I'm ace, like sometimes I just forget. Like, oh right, I'm this way. So it's not like I'm trying to deceive anyone, but today's a good day. Maybe this is like my coming out to the whole internet world that, hello, I am also on the asexual spectrum. I'm actually gray ace, not quite demi. My understanding of demi is you need to form like an emotional connection. For me, it's like emotional or not, I'm just kind of, I'm a gray ace. There. We'll have to get into the definitions a little bit later, but this is just the introduction. So yeah, I think that I tend to just exist and operate in what I like to call quietly queer. I think I picked up that term somewhere along the way in life on the internet. There's some quietly queer folks, and I was like, yeah, that feels really comfortable. I like that. I'm gonna adopt that. I'm gonna adapt that into kind of my experience. This is also coming into like a perspective of talking about personality. You have extrovert and introvert. I'm very much an introvert, a talkative introvert, but an introvert nonetheless. So quietly queer. Another way that I'd like to kind of introduce my experience when being asked, like, what's it like being asexual? For me, if someone were to ask me that, my brain thinks in metaphors, so I'll be like thinking, wow, how do I explain this like integral part of my existence to someone who might not understand? And I kind of compare my experience to like a bird. It's like asking a bird what it's like to fly is equivalent to asking me what's it like being asexual. I don't know. It's that's just kind of my experience. So I feel like it's good to have different perspectives and different stories and anecdotes. And hopefully through some of the resources that I'm looking forward to sharing with everyone, that for a person who's never been exposed to asexuality and they're like, what the heck is this? We can add more diverse narratives and not just my own. And it looks like we have a few folks maybe lurking, listening, participating, hanging out, who also identify as asexual and or somewhere on that spectrum, right? Demi, gray, neutros. And it could be slightly different, but there'll be some like commonalities there. So just again, a quick history, introducing myself. What's this all about? As far as I can remember, I think in 2011 is when I became like more aware and identifying as an ace, and I slowly like looked into learning more about you know, the way I am, or like, you know, my experience, because, you know, for me, I didn't have any sort of resource or mentor or person to help me, so I had to just figure all of this out. Not sure if that's the experience for other asexuals or non-asexual people. Maybe this is like, you've always known about it. Oh yeah, you learned about it in school, or they teach it now. They never taught it back then, so. Yeah, so once I started like learning about, thank goodness for Wikipedia, I learned about like neutros, which is also underneath the Ace spectrum. And by 2020, I think I came to full acceptance of this identity, and I just embraced being Ace with joy. So I identified as gray Ace and neutros, and that was really interesting. Lots of little layers, like an onion. I do regret not being more expressive or visible about, you know, being this way, but again, it just is what it is. And some of the negative experience, like stigma or misconceptions, really made me feel isolated as a non-binary Ace. So there's also, you know, you could be cis, hetero, trans, Ace, but for me, I didn't have the words or the community to validate my experience or to express my intersectionality as this person. So I had to kind of learn the hard way. And maybe this is something that people can relate to, maybe not. Maybe they're like, no, I grew up and everyone was very validating and I had a community. That's awesome, that's great. But in my experience, I, you know, also had to deal with people invalidating my experience and claiming that I was going through a phase and that I will eventually get over it. Fast forward a decade or two later, I never got over that phase. Still Ace, still queer, still potato, still Poe, and it's been quite a journey. I do wish that I could have known all of this sooner, might have helped, but this is my journey and I don't regret it. My goal moving forward is that I do want to expand upon this ongoing effort for visibility and acceptance as a person on the asexuality spectrum. And I hope I can be a person who can at least create some kind of space for others, like an opportunity for others to either come to terms with their own asexuality, or if you're not asexual, that's fine too. You can at least learn about asexuality, and you know, that's going to be my effort moving forward through sharing and curating resources that I never had, but I found today, now, you know, in the present, and I'm very happy that there are people out there making resources and sharing their stories and experience, and then doing their best to quantify it, you know, developing more language to understand this human experience. Yeah, so that's my intention. That's kind of setting the stage for today's, I guess, discussion, presentation, all kinds of things. I will catch up with chat because I see a few things were said. Okay, yeah. I feel the same can apply to, yes, I think so as well. I think a lot of the things that I'm saying, I hope, can be universal. Right? It doesn't even have to pertain to any, like, there's no gatekeeping necessarily. Like, if you find some common ground in my experience, then that's cool. But again, we were gonna try to like talk more about asexuality and then kind of move on from there. And then, you know, if you can relate and you want to do your own investigation, you know, research, look up resources that maybe align with your identity as you're discovering and figuring that out, totally cool. Pretty sure sometimes in your life someone is gonna yeah, there's always that as well. And the interesting thing is about the whole like, oh, you just haven't found someone to like unlock your XY, whatever it is, right? Like your heart, or okay. The interesting thing is like, you can still be asexual while being in a relationship. Yeah, there's a lot of like nuance, and this is where it gets really tricky. And it's not like, I think we're conditioned in society, maybe through our education, maybe just through our inherent like cognitive bias, to think like, oh, like, okay, it's done, no more, you know, done. It's, but for me, I think it's like the shifting that perspective, your attitude towards learning, lifelong learning, and kind of thinking about things more as like a maintenance, as like an ongoing process, like you're a work in progress, is better than saying like, this is how I am, this is it, nothing else can change. It's like a very rigid mindset. Whereas like being able to kind of keep an open mind and like open to possibilities, open to, you know, new information, it keeps you a little bit more flexible. But I can also understand that there's this need for like stability and consistency. So I totally get that. Yeah. So, all right, let me see if I can do this justice. That was like a quick bit for me on like who I am. I do want to like kind of do my best to keep today's discussion as focused as possible. And if you know anything about me, I can ramble with you guys. We can go on a lot of tangents, and it's really easy to talk about so many different things and opening up a can of worms for discussion topics and getting sidetracked. And that's fine normally, and that's also welcomed. However, I do want to also honor some of the work that I did going into today's stream with the topics, to really, again, advocate, bring visibility in a more constructive space. So this is a little graphic that I made, so you guys are in the right place. Yeah, thank you. This is just kind of a little snapshot of what we're going to be going over today. But hold on. Haha, more graphics. We are going to celebrate and advocate for asexuality awareness together, hopefully. Alright, so here we go. I have to resize, and hopefully you guys can see it. I'm blocking my face, but yeah, we're gonna do our best to, whoop, oh, little corner pole over here. Let me see if I can just, maybe I can switch places. No, we'll just leave it here. This is fine. I think this is okay. I hope you guys can still read the words. Should still be pretty visible. If not, put it here. Okay, give us a little room. Okay, so yeah, this is kind of my my attempt to stay focused, and we are gonna define asexuality and, of course, validate it as an experience, as a human experience. And I'll list a few ways, and I'll also cite my sources and try to pull from sources that I've used to talk about this topic, so it doesn't feel like I'm just pulling this out of my hat, because there's been a lot of research and you know, care from the community taken to pull together this experience in kind of like a definition that I believe tries to cover most people's experiences. Then yeah, I'm gonna mostly be going over a lot of resources and further reading. So there's gonna be some online articles, you know, there's a few digital forums like the Avon. If you guys have heard of Avon, that was like my first point of reference of like any resource related to asexuality was Avon for me. AVEN stands for Asexuality, Visibility, and Education Network. I'm gonna show you guys Genderbread Person. It's this amazing infographic that was created by a person named Sam Killerman, and the resources that Sam has made online and offered to just anyone and everyone, I think is very helpful, very insightful. It's a good starting point. Yeah, the gingerbread person. Everyone's gonna get a gingerbread person. If you know the gingerbread person already, then oh boy. But if this is like your first time figuring out like what am I looking at, you'll be in for a treat. And I personally really do like this genderbread person. And it has its evolution. Apparently it started out from Tumblr, and it made a bunch of iterations, and then Sam Killerman really just like pulled a lot of resources, like different, you know, posts, and was inspired by different things going on in Tumblr back then, and then voila, the genderbread person was created, baked, conceived, I don't know, created, and it's very cute. And yeah, so ultimately my goal is item number 5, we are celebrating and, you know, coming together, just reaffirming, maybe, you know, sharing to others like, hey, this is good, this is okay, you know, no one's getting hurt, this is how we exist, and it's fine. You probably don't even notice any real big difference, really. Like, if you guys knew I was Ace or not Ace, I don't really think that necessarily changes much about your perception of me. It's, you know, if you hated me from the beginning, then you'll still hate me now. If you're like, you know, Poe's cool, then I'm still the same person. It's not like I've radically shifted or changed in any significant way, right? Like I've been like this for quite a while, so it's just more like, hey, I'm just letting you know that this is me. So, You think so too? Yeah, I'm still me. So that is gonna be our goal, our itinerary for today. And of course there'll be room for questions, thoughtful questions. There'll be room for, you know, anything that you guys want to bring up, talk about. You know, feel free to let me know if something strikes a positive chord with you, or maybe if something's like, this makes me think. And then obviously I encourage you guys to continue doing more research, looking into the topic yourself, right? Inspiring that curiosity to figure things out and investigate. So, without further ado, we will be addressing the definition of asexuality. I don't have like a vibe test. I don't know, like, I don't have any feelers out right now. I don't know who's like already knows about asexuality. It seems like it was Dragon knew a little bit about it. Maybe some people have heard about it. Maybe they're like, oh, that's something I've learned in biology, you know, asexual reproduction of organisms, certain, you know, maybe, you know, that's the extent that you've been exposed or have heard of asexuality being used. But it is an orientation, and I will actually be using one of the resources that is linked in today's VOD. So if you want to check my sources, what you can do is you can go to this stream and you can look at all of the links that I have so kindly curated for you, and you can read. I think asking me, you know, what does this article mean or what does it say is kind of unfair to me. Maybe if you want to take the time to read it, you can. Since I didn't write these articles, right? I'm just doing the research and kind of showing it to you guys like, hey, this is what I found. This relates to my understanding, or actually this gave me a different perspective. It was different from what I thought I knew about it. So that's kind of the point there. So that's an interesting way of putting it, but so asexuality, and this is from a resource, a website called Safe Zone Project that introduces asexuality. I am actually going to try to pull it up. Give me 1 second, because I do plan on reading it verbatim. Aha! Success! Okay, so we are going to, yeah, so I basically, this is the definition, and I really liked how the Safe Zone project was able to put it all together. So we're just gonna do this together, I suppose. Hold on. How do I want to do this? I'm gonna just whoop and haha. Yes, very good. I want to resize it. We have resized it. So yeah, asexuality is a sexual orientation that we don't often hear or discuss. We don't often hear discussed or talked about a lot. This is actually true. I kind of had to figure it out on my own. So it's when someone experiences a low or lack of sexual attraction to other individuals. They can still experience romance, romantic attraction, but their experience, actually, you know, I'm not actually reading verbatim now. I'm doing that thing where I'm like trying to free flow. Okay, here we go. Verbatim. They may experience romantic attraction to other individuals, but likely experience limited or no sexual attraction towards others. Asexuality is different from celibacy in that asexuality is a sexual orientation, whereas celibacy is the choice of refraining from or not engaging in a particular action. And being asexual doesn't necessarily mean you are celibate. Asexuality is speaking more about the drive or the desire, whereas celibacy speaks to the actions or behaviors of an individual. So that's the good old textbook definition from the Safe Zone project. And this is all linked, again, if you want to like check my sources and make sure like where is this coming from. You know, the reliability of the information is so important to people on the internet. Totally get that. Yeah, this is linked in the VOD, so you can double check that. So, here we go. I should note. I will note that this model is kind of funky. It does this thing where I'm like body slamming the screen. Like I'm like I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like chest bumping, you guys. I don't know. It's a glitch. It's a weird thing. I'm aware of it. It has something to do with this model and the tracking. And that's why I do kind of want to slowly move away from using this 2D model as a VTuber. But that's going to be for later. I thought I'd just keep things really simple and use OG Poette model, which is this one. And if you've ever tuned into any of my workout streams, that is a 3D model with a workout outfit. And it's a little bit different, so I just wanted to let you know that I know that, yeah, the tracking is kind of weird, and I'll do some weird stuff, like the Poette's just gonna do some weird stuff, so I'm aware of it. Don't worry about it. Yeah, so yeah, I think this is pretty straightforward. I honestly don't think there's too many questions that need to be answered at this point, but if there are, y'all can let me know. Comment in the comment section of this VOD or in chat, however you feel you would like to have your question addressed, or just simply Google and research like articles that, you know, seem reliable. Let's see. Yeah, so defining the asexual spectrum is kind of tricky because it's actually an umbrella term for other... Oh, did I not include it? I didn't include it! Oh! Okay, well you guys just got a preview of of everything. So yeah, this is the definition. We know the definition. I guess at this point I could probably demystify some misconceptions. That's what I was looking for. I jumped ahead to try to look for it, but I guess I can also address it when we talk about the genderbread person, because what the genderbread person does is it kind of divides everything into like four different factors that make up a person's like identity regarding, you know, sexuality, expression, gender versus, you know, assigned genitals at birth, and you know, your attraction. So it's more than that. Okay. Yeah, there is more than that. That's what I was like pausing to think and kind of thinking about what would be helpful for the folks tuning in at this moment. But yeah, the sexuality is not the same as romance. I guess that can be covered more in the genderbread person. So I guess that can be addressed a little bit later. So we'll hold that thought. We'll put a pin on it for now. Okay. Continuing, how to be an ally. You know, we want to be supportive. We want to be the good person, the good people that we truly are. But sometimes we just don't know how. That's totally okay. And you know, we gotta start somewhere. The hero's journey, the character development's got to start somewhere. So I think the best thing anyone can do is educate themselves, myself included. I'm not omitted from this process, and what that means can look different for everyone. Educating yourself could be, you know, going to school and taking a introduction to gender studies and women's studies class, right? Or introduction to LGBTQIA plus studies. And that's a form of, you know, educating yourself more formally. But back in my day, when I was growing up, we didn't have that. We didn't have that in our curriculum. We didn't have access to any class material at all, actually, to my knowledge, anyways. And so, but we did have the internet. We had the internet, we had Wikipedia, and that was very helpful. So, education, being informed, taking different perspectives, understanding the criticism and then the, you know, the arguments for and against, and being able to kind of like hold both of these, you know, different ideas simultaneously while still trying to understand how to navigate society and understanding yourself better so that you can have a more positive relationship with yourself, like with your mind. I think one of the stigmas, or I guess one of the, yeah, I guess it's kind of like a stigma of asexuality and mental health in general is that you're broken, and that language is so outdated. It's very outdated. Language is so important. In fact, there's research, and I guess I'll have to pull sources, but for now, if you want to take my word for it, there has been research shown that there's like a part of your brain that can't differentiate what's real or not. So like, if it's kind of tested, like when you watch a scary movie and you actually flinch at the jump scare, if that part of your body that knew it's fake, you know, it still causes you to flinch because, you know, that part of your brain still thinks you're in danger. So you know, you flinch at that moment of like fear. It's like a reaction, natural reaction. So we still have that reptilian part of our brain, I suppose, that's operating. But yeah, so language is really important. And if you grow up thinking you're broken when you're not, then you're like really confused because you're like, well, what do I need to fix? What do I gotta do? How do I not be broken? So that language is very outdated. And learning the language, the vocabulary that goes with this particular field of study and experience is very, very important. It helps with your identity. That's why, you know, there is so much language and so much so much terminology that like it's confusing. I totally get it. Like the joke is like, oh, this is like alphabet soup. There's just so many, you know, terms now to remember, and you know, you don't have to remember everything. Just know that it's out there, it exists, it's somewhere. And you know, if you're curious, then obviously look into it, educate yourself, check out forums. There's Reddit, there's Avon, that's also a forum for asexual community and people. So some of the terms within asexuality is demisexual, there's gray sexual, there's neutros, and neutros is more like you're a neutral gender, you're like a third gender. I kind of identified with that for a little while, for a bit. I don't know if I still do. It's kind of like familiar. It's like, oh yeah, I remember when I referred to my identity as something like neutros, but I think gray ace is more accurate. Plus neutros is just a fancy French way of saying I'm neutral. So I think that's, yeah, it's a French word, neutros. Very fancy. How does that work indeed? So I'm gonna try to answer that question because that is a very good question. Sometimes if a word resonates with you, you're like, yeah, this feels familiar. This feels like home. I want to identify as neutros, right? This is me. This describes my experience. This describes a feeling that I feel that I've reflected on and experienced. So that's kind of how it works. In terms of you're asking about like the biology, I'm not sure. I'm not sure the biological makeup or the neurological circuitry that, you know, makes a person this like asexual. That I don't know. I'm not sure if I don't know if it's hereditary. I don't know if it's environmental. Not sure about that. I guess the best way to talk about third gender is first identifying that there's a binary. Actually, the binary topic should be for non-binary parent day, which is actually coming up. It's gonna be on Sunday, April 19th is when I'm planning on covering more about the non-binary. And it's interesting, so many of these topics overlap. Yeah, so since the overlap and the intersection, right? Like when you drive a car, there's an intersection where like two roads cross, and now there's like 4 roads and it makes like an X or like a cross. That's, you know, intersection of identities. It gets a little complicated, hence the onion on our heads. You gotta, don't forget to wear your layered helmet, the onion hat, the onion helmet, hence the mascot. You guys might have seen my mascot, or you haven't here. Where did I put my mascot? Aha, there's my mascot. I knew I was gonna. So this little guy, this little fella, they are a pigeon. I guess I should have introduced my pigeon. But they have the thing that's on their head isn't a dumpling, although it could be a dumpling. It is actually an onion. And as we know, an onion has layers. So we're tangenting for a moment to talk about the complexity of an onion. It's a many layers. And yes, that is a baked potato. Our little pigeon friend. My mascot is a pigeon holding a baked potato with an onion on its head. There are many questions. I have questions as well, but this is how it is. Yep, ogres have layers as well. So put on your onion hat and get ready for the layers, because identity and human existence and experience should be layered. Yeah, so yeah, I guess another way to be an ally is just celebrate your ace friends, whatever that looks like nowadays. Bullying is just something that's always existed. The ways that we are cruel to each other are never ending. But yeah, maybe don't bully your friend for trying to figure out what they're going through, trying to figure out themselves, and yeah. So whatever way you can do to celebrate your friend. An example, here's a little story that I experienced. Story time, how I was celebrated. I received a little gift from a friend. They went out and they got this cute little pin, and it's a black cat. It's a black cat carrying a non-binary little like rectangle on its back. So it kind of looks like Nyan Cat without the little rainbow trail, and it's a little pin. It's a metal pin, and then underneath it says Nyan binary. And it's really cute because I love black cats, and it's a black cat with a non-binary flag on its back, and it's really cute. So that's one way you can celebrate, you know, your friends and people in your life that you cherish and care about. Yeah, the neon binary pin. It's really cute, and it really made me feel, it is so adorable though. It is so adorable. And it's these little things, right, that you're being thoughtful, and instead of like, you know, the opposite of celebrating someone is like trying to tell them to do something that they might not like. That's kind of like peer pressure, and trying to get them to do something is very manipulative. Whereas if you just let them, you know, exist, let them be, and just be like, hey, you know, thanks for telling me. I didn't know, but you're still the same person to me, and still like you. You're still my friend. That kind of thing. That's very supportive, right? And I think when you're going through a hard time, having that positive validation is so important. I think I was very lucky to have a lot of people like that in my life growing up. So yeah, even though I didn't have all the resources, I still had a lot of validation from, you know, friends and family saying, you know, you're still you. It's you'll figure it out, you know, just give yourself some time, and you know, you don't have to have everything figured out today, right now, just especially when it comes to like who you are and who you want to be and things like that. So yeah. Obviously, this is kind of what we're doing today, is trying to advocate for asexual people, and you know, this gets a little tricky because you have to kind of understand the experience, because there's a lot of like misconception, misunderstandings, misinformation out there, right? And I think I'll try to get into that in the gender bread slide. Trying to keep things organized. So according to this article that I also feel like I have linked, let me double check. I'm gonna double check if I linked it. How to be an ally. Did I include it? Did I not? I guess I didn't include it in this like stream description, but basically it's asexuality.org, and it's one of the topics. It's how to be an ally for a person who's asexual, and they list some pretty helpful, like actionable things that you can do or not do. Let's see, I wonder if I can pull it up just to share that with you guys. Let's see. Aha. Oh, I see, I remember this. So this is actually, I pulled this from the Asexual Visibility and Education Network, for short, AVEN, A-V-E-N. This was from 2010. Let me see if I can pull this up for you guys. Give me a second. I think it's worth like going over. Let me, waha, oh. Okay, struggle is real, struggle. All right, so this is AVEN, and so it's a forum board, and it's for the community of asexuals online. Yeah, thank you, Cappy. Appreciate you stopping by. And yeah, the VOD is available. But yeah, basically this was posted from 2010, but it's still, I think, very, very relevant. I would say a lot of the a lot of the information presented is still very, very relevant to this topic of, you know, navigating asexuality and how to be an ally. And so, right, educate yourself, speak up if you hear, you know, an asexual person being ridiculed or even harassed for their orientation. This is just like, you know, common courtesy, I suppose. But yeah, there's different experiences. I don't think anyone can just say like everyone is the same and everyone's a cookie cutter or a snowflake, and then that, you know, asexuals are all the same, and just like how cis heterosexual people are not the same. So I guess it would just apply to that as well, to asexual experiences as well. This is how I think about it. But we still have a lot to go over. Yeah, so advocate, positive, good vibes. I did want to go over resources in case you're struggling, or maybe you already know about these resources, who knows? Maybe this is like, oh, I already know all these. Did anyone recognize any of these or all of them? I actually learned a few of these on my own, like while compiling all this on my own. I was just like, wait, wow, I never knew about these. I think Trevor Project is very well known. NAMI, National Alliance on Mental Illness or Mental Health, right? I think that one's also very like popular, well known. Some of these other ones actually are, in my opinion, gems. They were like, it's like finding a gem or like a really nice stone while you're like digging in the dirt. So these were like really nice to discover. Just to go over a few, NAMI is the National Alliance on Mental Illness, and they have a lot of resources. It's like a platform. They do a lot of advocacy. If you've ever, you know, experienced anything, or your friend or family member or loved one has experienced something, I think NAMI does a really good job to help with destigmatizing whatever experience that you or your loved one has gone through. And there's a lot of like articles and resources, like what you can do and trying to learn and adapt to your specific situation. For just to mention it, just to put it out there, I'm not a doctor and I'm not a therapist. I'm just someone who is very, very passionate about mental health as well as gender. In fact, if I had all the time and money in the world, I would love to go back to school for a master's degree in gender studies. I think that would be great. I think it's really interesting and fascinating, this aspect of human experience. Wow, human sexuality, right? Who would have thought? But yeah, I think it's interesting because it also plays into a lot of like our identity, and I think human identity is very fascinating to me, like how it's shaped, how it's formed, how it's influenced, how it's like nurture versus nature, you know, from the content we consume, from the experiences that we live, from the interactions and our upbringing, from our like brain chemistry and our biology, like how our body is, you know. If you have any known conditions that might affect your identity or sense of self, that's always been very interesting. And the other day we were talking about Ghost in the Shell, one of my favorite animes, and I think one of the parts about Ghost in the Shell, the anime, is that the main character explores identity in this very futuristic robot, like cyberized world, whereas like, who are you if you're not your thoughts and memories and consciousness and memories of like what you've done in your current life? Like, what makes up identity? And there's probably a psychological, you know, definition of what is identity and things like that. So very fascinating stuff. Which school would be best suited for you? Oh, that's a good question. You know, I think I would have to do some research on which school I would want to attend for if I were to go back to school and study gender studies or any sort of higher education. So I'm not sure yet. That is my answer currently. It will change as I do some research. There isn't a particular program or school that I was shooting for, and I also kind of want to like wait to see if any school or program made any like is very progressive in that field of study. So I'd have to do more research. I'm not sure which school I would want to go to yet. But that isn't currently on the table, so I think that's why I was very discouraged from even like looking, because it's like too tempting. I'd just be very, very sad. Even if I had like my dream school, I wouldn't be able to go anyway. So rather than tempting my my frustration of like I can't even attend to this school, so why would I look into it? I should probably keep up and see which schools out there in the world are currently very forward about, you know, promoting, advocating, teaching gender studies for sure. Or I guess I've seen a lot of like gender studies with women's studies as well. So, yep, something I would have to further look into myself. AVEN, the Asexual Visibility and Education Network, is very helpful. It's a forum board first and foremost, and it was founded by a person named David J. And I do believe I linked a video, a YouTube, and I think it's like an interview where he's like talking about, you know, his experience and the foundings of AVEN. So that's in the video description of today's stream. Safe Zone Project is the one in the corner that's circular. It's really cute. It's the little rainbow. It's a really good website that provides a lot of material if you are interested in facilitating like teaching this type of material. So they have a lot of templates, and that was the resource that I read earlier for defining asexuality, because I think it's just a great resource. It's almost overwhelming at times, and a lot of it's free, which I think is great. Like the philosophy behind their templates and their material, I think is so cool. It's for the public, it's for the people. Like, here, go do something great, educate people, do something positive. Yeah. I believe it was through AVEN that I was able to learn so much more about asexuality. There was like a long time ago when I found and connected with AVEN. It was a Facebook group, and they were sharing events and doing like streams and podcasts, and I'd listen in to some of the things they would talk about, and that's where I really learned. And it's funny because the Facebook page for AVEN that I was connected to was their branch from India. Yeah, so it was like a different branch from a different country, and I was so surprised that India has a branch for asexuality, visibility, and education. And the person who was like operating that page was very proactive, and they themselves also identify as ace, and it was really cool to kind of like watch the interviews and interactions and them promoting, like, you know, what is asexuality, and, you know, how's it understood in India. So that was like many years ago, and I mostly just lurked and learned, and I have AVEN to thank for kind of helping me during that time figure out like what is quote unquote wrong with me. Oh wait, there's nothing wrong with me, this is just how I am. P flag, so we went over the Safe Zone project. P flag is interesting as well. Yeah, P flag stands for parents, families, and friends of lesbians and gays. So this is more like LGBTQ resources, but they do also have resources and articles that talk about asexuality, and that's very, very helpful. So P flag is that teal logo right here by my face. And I believe it has also been linked. Yeah, we're often put into boxes, and sometimes when we don't fit those boxes, we might think there's something wrong with us when there isn't. Absolutely. And I think that's kind of the goal and the work of visibility and advocacy, is that it's like reminding mainstream or whoever's calling the shots that, like, hey, don't forget about us. We exist. This is our experience, and it's important. Otherwise, you know, we all just become like a gear in a machine. We don't have an identity. We don't have any sort of like autonomy if we can't even control our own identity and sense of self. And that's very important. Along with finding out, you know, what you are, who you are, what you identify and align with, is ways to take care of yourself. So, you know, in the disability community, if you know that you have certain needs that are, you know, that you need to have in order to, you know, function at your best, then that's extra care and resources that are needed for your life, for who you are. And that's not necessarily bad. It just means, you know, you need to advocate for yourself, connect with others who can help advocate for you or understand your needs and move you forward or move you through like a system. And that was something that I experienced when working in the medical field for a short period of time, like seeing that there's individuals who have, you know, needs, whether it's medical, and just helping them navigate and push through the system so that it's not because of like a human negligence that they don't get the services or resources that they need to take care of themselves. So yeah, it's still very human to human, and can't drop the ball. Not yet anyways. Yeah, to function at our best, for sure. So going back to this list, the Trevor Project, you guys have probably heard of, if not. It's a non-profit, and they provide a lot of resources in terms of article information. They probably have a list of like other projects that you can connect to. Yeah, it's a lot of like LGBTQ information as well. I found this one was kind of a sneaky one, the one on the bottom left corner, Pride Pledge. It's actually from New Zealand. So this is kind of like a global effort here. And Pride Pledge was really interesting. Lots of, I think they provide training for school and workplaces, and I thought that was really cool that you could like essentially hire or work with Pride Pledge in New Zealand, and they will, you know, go in and train your company, you know, workers, people, on how to be more sensitive, more aware, more like receptive to, you know, LGBTQ identities. I guess that's pretty cool. It's just training. It's just kind of like in any like white collar job, most of them provide like sexual harassment training, what to look for, what to do, like what do you do when you are in this type of situation, you know, what's the protocol? This is our protocol for our business, for our company, for our establishment. We value your safety, and these are the steps to, you know, follow up when you have experienced a situation such as harassment, right? So we need that sort of I don't know if it's like a sense of safety and accountability. And hopefully, if everything is, you know, good, then there will be some form of accountability, training for individuals who, you know, don't have the awareness that they're harassing someone for whatever reason. I don't know how the mind of a sexual harasser works, because I personally don't think like that, so I don't know how to even how brain is built different, doesn't know. But Scarlet Teen was cool. Check that out. It's also a nonprofit, has a bunch of articles. It's primarily for young adults and, you know, teens aged 15 to 30, and there's just a bunch of articles that you can read about almost any topic. It offers LGBTQIA plus inclusive advice on relationships, health, anatomy, and, you know, consent through, again, like the articles that are written by their staff, message boards, and I guess they have some direct services as well. So pretty cool. Maybe it's best we don't enter the mind of a bully. Yeah, that's a good point. Alright, so these are some of the resources that are available, and if you find more that like you align with and then I didn't cover it, no problem. You know, more power to you. If it works for you, it works for you. These are just some that I found and thought I would share and curate with you guys. Anyone lurking and listening, guys, gals, non-binaries, and friends and viewers. So, yep, and then just before stream, actually, I was able to, oh, something happened. Yeah. Wait a minute. Something happened. All right. Audio is down. Oh, there we go. We're back. So before stream, I found this nice little infographic from the Trevor Project on their Instagram, on their social media, and I really liked it. And it was so good to see this. And, you know, as you can see, it just says, you know, asexual youth are not broken, they're not wrong, and they do not need to be fixed, right? They are just who they are. They're still, you know, figuring out where they belong on this spectrum, whether they're demi, whether they're gray ace, whether they are neutros or genderqueer, what have you, however they want to identify and navigate. Another thing is maybe like the system and structure of society is not designed to, you know, reciprocate these ideas. So the more society can shift to allocate and allow for these more diverse experiences to be part of the, you know, the experience of being human, then the better. So, yep, I would have loved to have heard this growing up. But yeah, hello, welcome in. Good to see you. It's a cozy stream today. We're hanging out, doing our thing, and I am doing my best to share and curate all of the information, but obviously as much as possible, as much as I can cram in a few hours. So thank you so much for being here. I just listed out a bunch of resources, and yeah, Trevor Project is one of them, and so this is kind of the topic that, you know, one of the topics they go over. Trevor Project covers a lot of LGBTQIA plus topics, so this post is specifically for today since it's International Asexuality Awareness. So that is something that I pulled just now before stream, and yeah, I thought it was great. I just really like that they're promoting, validating. If not like promoting, it's not like some like, oh, I'm trying to convert you. There's none of that. It's just like, if you like are this way, you're not a menace to society, okay? You're not broken, you're not a monster. You know, this is just you, and you're fine, you know, like, it's all good. Which I really appreciate that kind of like, that vibe. The message is very, very empowering. It gives back a lot of autonomy to a person. Yeah, definitely not a menace. We don't want to be a menace. Yeah. So, yes, the next topic that is also not a menace is my favorite. So, among some of the resources that I've provided already, right, like NAMI, AVEN, Safe Zone Project, PFLAG, Parents, Family, and Friends of Lesbians and Gays, LGBTQIA+, the Trevor Project, you know, Pride Pledge of New Zealand, and Scarletine, we have the genderbread person. Wah! This is so much fun to like try to interpret and understand. I remember finding this and I was like, what? And I just, it was like a rabbit hole. I just looked into like all of the things like gender identity, gender expression, and then, you know, biological sex, and then sexual orientation, genderbread. It's great. This breaks it down in a way that's visually easy to interpret and understand. Like, you could just like give this to a kid and they'd be like, oh, okay, and they'd be like, wait, what's identity? First time seeing this, you know, I'm not surprised. If it is your first time, no problem, that's great. I can introduce to you something interesting, something new, something, you know, maybe it can help you understand. If you're already learning 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes in, and you are learning, what is this? Yeah, I don't have any formal training on the genderbread person. I think if you have critical thinking skills that's, you know, higher than or above or about high school level, if not more, then you can actually probably just figure this out on your own. It's very well designed, it's very well created, and just curating this is great because it kind of explains itself, but I'll just explain it just for the sake of anyone tuning in and listening. But so it's a diagram of okay, so it's like a gingerbread cookie, but it's the genderbread person, and I love it because even the language is neutral. They call it a person. And again, it was like Sam Killerman, and they or he have a website, and it's www.itspronouncedmetrosexual.com. All, no spaces, all in one word. So you can check out Sam's stuff. I think he also like writes on various topics related to identity, expression, and orientation, which is pretty cool, very helpful. And somewhere along my journey of discovering and learning about myself, I came across the genderbread person, and now you can enjoy genderbread person as well. So, let's see. What do I want to say about genderbread person? So, the first, like, I guess, component, according to genderbread person diagram, is and like, where is it located in the body? It's the brain. The brain is where the identity like originates, I suppose, right? It's like, that's where you conceptualize, you process information. And I was kind of almost ranting about it earlier. Like, I think identity formation is fascinating, and gender is just one component of a person's identity. There's also many other components that make up a person: their values, their behaviors, their style, and this goes into expression. So with gender identity, again, it's a spectrum You can be on one side where you're like, I am male, no questions about it. It's all in my brain is 100% male. Or you could be female, like woman, like 100% in my brain. I subscribe to the societal expectations and performance of what women are. Oh, hello, hi, welcome, hi. Just in time for my favorite subject. It's genderbread person. Hello, welcome in. So yes, genderbread person. Behold, Sam Killermans. You guys, can you tell how much I like the genderbread person? This just is it to me. It just captures so much in such a simple, elegant way, and it visual. You guys know I'm a visual person, so this is like the best thing for someone like me to like try to explain to someone, and with like a visual that is just so helpful. Yes, the genderbread person. We're even using neutral terminology. Yes, terms. So I just covered gender identity, and where is that located? It's in the brain. It's forms in the brain. Your experiences, your life experiences, the content you consume, your nature versus nurture, all of it, biology versus whatever's beaten into you externally. I don't know. And it's great. Is there a genderbread house? I don't know if there's a genderbread house, but they're darn better be, because it's incomplete without it. We need the genderbread house. That's society. That should be society. But yeah, so I don't know if you guys can see the gray font. It's a little small. I apologize. But I'm just gonna blow it up really quick. Zoom in. Gender identity is how you, in your head, think about yourself. And something I keep talking and emphasizing about every once in a while is it's the relationship with yourself. It's how you see yourself. It's how you validate yourself, your experience, your needs. So it's a chemistry that composes you. So like hormonal levels, and also your lived experiences and everything that goes into all of that, and how you interpret what that means. Okay, that's from genderbread. All right, I think I'll just read it for you guys, and if you guys want to take a closer look at it, please take a look at this lovely genderbread infographic. The genderbread has taken over. That's how much I love genderbread person. It is great. And then the next component of a person's identity or experience is the expression. So this is really interesting. The entire genderbread person is, so basically from how you dress to how you talk, how you walk, how the things you're interested in, your hobbies, like just anything that anyone can see outside, like externally. It's not your thoughts, it's not your values, unless you wear your values externally. Some do. So gender expression is how you demonstrate your gender, either based on a traditional gender role or through the ways, again, as the definition says, you act, dress, behave, and interact. So this is where the nuance happens. This is it. And I think that's great that this infographic can explain it so well visually. That's some good design. As you guys can tell, my passion is graphic design. So I thought this was really helpful. So gender expression is its own, factor. And so on one end of the spectrum of gender expression is femininity, whatever that looks like, according to your society, right? Maybe wearing a, I'm just gonna make something up. Maybe wearing a sombrero makes you appeal a certain way. right? Whatever, in any culture, if you wear something, some ornament, it's like intentionally for a more feminine whatever. I don't know why a kilt just like popped up in my brain, and then that is true gender expression. Okay, so then on the other spectrum, right, it's like things that look or are traditionally more masculine. I guess in a lot of like video games we see like the knight in shining armor, so you think of like metal, you think of a sword, a broadsword, and then you think of like a giant shield, you know, that's a, you know. And so when you see like a character that's like a Valkyrie, who's like a warrior, a female warrior, who's also wielding these same motifs, you know, the thinking kind of, you kind of have to like adapt. But that's the expression. Ha! Fiesta! Arriba! Ah, yes. Sombreros are great. We love a good sombrero. I'm just giving an example, obviously. Androgynous expression. I actually really do like androgynous expression. So hence why I'm kind of queer. Like, I don't question it. I'm like fascinated by it. Whereas like maybe someone who's less queer or maybe more like cis, they'd be like, okay, are you a boy or are you a girl? And you're just sitting here like, no. So I'm of the more I like androgynous expressions personally. But you know, for whatever reason, whether it's like economics, you're lazy, you just, at this point it doesn't, you know, you're just kind of like, you know, you don't really care, then, you know, you just wear whatever, and then that's just whatever. But you know. The Professor Oak question. Professor Oak just makes his appearance. It's how you present. Yeah, it's definitely how you present. I do know, and again, this is anecdotal, like this is my experience, story time. There was a period of time where I did shop in the men's section. Yes, I shopped in the men's section, and yes, I actually do have some clothes that in my closet that's still like, you know, I went to the Men's Warehouse. It's like a brand for formal wear for men, and when I went there to buy like a vest, because you know, for formal events, so like I have my blazer, and then I wanted to get like a vest, and I have a tie, and I've also got shoes. What are those called? I only had like one pair. They were super cheap. I've only worn it like once or twice, but they're like men's formal shoes, you know, like the ones that you wear to a wedding, and they're pretty nice. Mine's like matte black, and yeah. And so I was going to some event, and I think I wanted to get like a vest, and I went to the Men's Warehouse. Yo, I had a very positive experience. I wasn't looked at in a weird way. The person who helped me get like fitted a little, like to find the right size, was not non-judgmental, just totally normal day at the Men's Warehouse. It is professional wear for sure. Yeah, so I was able to get like my size fitted, not like, you know, no questions, just like, I think we're gonna need to like, you know, like fix this and you should be good. I'm like, cool, thanks, we're all good, cool. They were super nice about it. So not a big deal. I think what ended up happening, I'm thinking, I might have like looked at like what's available, and you know, they were very, very polite and very professional, super cool. That's my personal experience. Didn't have any problems. I don't remember if I actually got anything from Men's Warehouse, or if yeah, so that I don't remember if I bought anything from there. Did I? Oh, this was like years ago. It was like years and years and years ago. But regardless, the experience was positive, and I hope that anywhere or any Men's Warehouse also has that same like professional treatment, and it was just really, I was really nervous. That's why, as you could possibly imagine. So, gender expression, Professor Oak moment. All right, here's the thing where like everyone just like goes into reptilian brain. Biological sex. It's like your organs, right? It's like what you were assigned at birth or whatever. And here's the interesting thing, and I need to keep looking for it because I know I saw it like several months ago, and I need to re-look at it. It's not super popular. I will admit it's not super popular, but it is an anomaly and it does happen, and we should still respect and like acknowledge that, you know, it happens. But there was an interview, like it was like a documentary or like an interview with this person who had both of the sex organs of a male and female. And at the time, you know, and this person disclosed what happened and everything. At the time, this person had more male features, so they just went with like, okay, the male features. And again, in the interview, kind of like paraphrasing, but using some of the words that this person used, they just stitched up the female parts. Here's the weird thing though, and in the interview, this person talked about it, so I'm not like making it up. I'll have to look for it so that you guys don't think I'm crazy or I'm making stuff up, but they go on to say that this person who had both sex organs actually had a period. So growing up as a teenager and into adulthood, and he's like what, 70 or something now, and like he works on a farm. He actually had too much iron in his body, in his system, because the menstrual blood that his body was producing was not leaving his system, basically. And that became a problem and complication for this person. Yeah, this person's lived experience. And it was so eye-opening. It's so eye-opening, because yes, he's like an anomaly, he's like not the majority, sure, but like this is a real lived experience and we can't omit it. So that was kind of the solution back then when they figured this out when he was born, right? Was just they like let him grow up and figure out which of his organs or where this person leaned more, like were they more male, are they more female, right? And instead there was no care for a person who was intersex. So as you can see in the biological sex like factor, that spectrum, obvious, there's the very clear like, you know, XY chromosome, XX chromosome, you know, and for whatever reason, actually I remembered something about this about the interview. He's like a descendant of human experimentation, to put it very simply, to put it very like frankly and clear. This person, the interview about this person, his parents or his like dad or something was like experimented on during like a war, and they're like, and this is like him trying to figure out why he came out this way, why he is this way, and he's wondering like if some of those like human experimentations have affected him, and like he's like a byproduct of that, like chemical experimentation. And I was just sitting there, yes, I need to look up this, because I feel like you guys don't believe, like I'm worried like people are like you're making this show. I'm not, I cannot, I know, I think it's really interesting though, because, you know, gender identity, and then like now we're getting into like history and like war and like human experimentation and like altering like, and like how that like affects. Yeah, I think it's really interesting. Hold on, I don't know if I can find it right away, but it'd probably take me like 15 minutes. I probably could find it. So, but let me cycle back on that. I do want to cycle back on that just because I think it is important, and like I said, I understand it's not like the majority's lived experience, but it's interesting to note like the medical treatment that a person that I guess presented more intersex than like male or female. Yeah, so in the little gray text for biological sex, it obviously refers to the objectively like measurable organs, hormones, and chromosomes of a person. And intersex is a combination of the two. So yeah, this person was basically intersex, but because of society's limitations and also medical limitations and maybe societal, expectations of you have to just be in the binary, there's only female and male and nothing in between, that's dangerous. So then this person suffered a lot of like health complications growing up because this person was not treated as an intersex individual. He was just kind of forced to be one or the other, which was weird because, like I said, they pushed him to be like male because he had both like organs, but then at the same time he was also experiencing menstrual cycles, and that caused complications for him health-wise. So again, medical wasn't caught up. Honestly, if there's better treatment and care for these rare instances of people who present as intersex, that would just have been, not a problem. He could have, this person probably could have lived. And honestly, given like a lot of progressive, paved a lot of, progression for individuals who might be trans, right? Intersex, trans, and I don't know. I'm not like super keen on the medical, but it's still a little behind. And then, societal stereotypes, stigmas, pressures, and what isn't really caught up with the evolution of genderbread person, right? I don't think society is caught up on this yet. So there is a lot of euphoria for me when I see genderbread person. It just reminds me of like, okay, this exists, this information, there are people who do understand this complexity, and yet we just need systems to catch up or support this understanding. But again, that is just my opinion. Lastly, the orientation part. Where does orientation come from? And we put it in gingerbread person's heart. Yes, that is who you fall in love with. These are, I guess it can also be in the brain as well, honestly, but I think just to compartmentalize it, make it all super neat and nice. Orientation is both identity, like your brain, and your heart, but the heart is really cute. So on the spectrum of orientation, these identities, one side is hetero, right? Traditional, just man, woman, easy, done, got it, not a problem. Anything else on that spectrum is a work in progress. We're figuring it out. We're still navigating, and we're good, right? Just like, so even if you're bisexual or even if you're, homosexual, anyone who is like identifies with anything, there's always going to be the same level of work that's needed to maintain any relationship, right? So a heterosexual couple, man and woman, can also get a divorce. A bisexual couple, woman, woman, man, woman, man, man, bisexual, queer, trans, whatever combination, they can also, have their ups and downs in relationships. And then homosexual, lesbian, gay, what else is there? Yeah, just that's... They can also have their own ups and downs with, in the interpersonal component. So that's, I guess, another factor of this is like social, like the interpersonal, the communication and relationship skills and communication skills. There's a lot of really interesting books and resources about communication and healthy relationship dynamics. And I think anyone from any orientation or any identity could benefit from, healthy communication styles or relationship XYZ, whatever topic. So I don't, yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is like, I don't think your identity or the, you know, the things that are covered on genderbread person affects a person's relationship. It can impact, there can be some impacts, but I've seen a lot of successful stories of like queer people, and those are the stories that I tend to cling to. Maybe it's my own like anchor bias. I just want to like latch on to things that like I see are working. And I was hoping to be able to share some of those resources in future streams, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure yet. I'm still pending on that. Anyways, a little bit of a tangent there. Yeah, so genderbread person. They identify what is it? The compiler, the synthesizer, the baker of the genderbread person, once again, is Sam Killerman, who identifies as an author, person who doodles, a doodler, a social justice comedian. I thought that was really empowering, that Sam Killerman self-identifies as a social justice comedian. I thought that was really interesting. I kind of want to see some of his like comedy skits now, because we like comedy. Sam Killerman writes articles, resources on their website. They draw and create these edu-graphics, educational graphics, and they code their own website. So yeah, I think their website is itspronouncedmetrosexual.com, and yep, that is a resource. Pretty cool. Yeah. I suppose, yeah, that was kind of like a snapshot overview of trying to understand the complexity of a human's experience. I think this is fascinating. I think this is great. I really like how this information graphic like allows someone to understand visually where these 4 factors of a person's identity is. Like it's just so well broken down. I can't stop hyping it up. That's just me personally. Let's see. Yeah, so today's kind of intention was to really just celebrate, advocate, bring visibility to folks who either identify as asexual, such as myself, like I'm on that spectrum, it's not like crazy, but also for others who are not asexual, just to be informed, just to know about like, hey, this is valid, this is an experience, this is a thing, and it's not something you can like force someone to like change or be. Like, I think this is just something we can accept, especially if it's not like harmful, right? I'm trying to think of an instance or a story or a news article where it was like, serial killer identifies as asexual, or like, serial rapist is asexual. Like, I don't know. I feel like I could be wrong. I really could be wrong, but I feel like being asexual is very dismissed, and it doesn't, you know, have to be that way. I guess I also want to kind of like note that you don't have to be special to be like queer. You don't have to be like anything. Like, anyone can be asexual, anyone can be queer, anyone can be non-binary. You know, it's not even like a result of trauma or anything. So yeah, I don't think anyone is broken if they're asexual, or if they're non-binary, or whatever, if they're queer, or if they're lesbian or gay or trans. It's likely that there's a lot of intersection and coexistence, meaning a person who is, you know, queer or gay or lesbian or trans, they could be experiencing trauma just the same way like a normal cis heterosexual woman, man, person experiences trauma. You wouldn't blame their, you know, you wouldn't blame their condition because they're straight, I guess. he murdered people because he was straight. That's the reason. He's the culprit or she's the culprit because they're straight. So, I don't know. I think that's kind of an interesting thought that sometimes there's this weird narrative that like being queer or something different is dangerous. If anything, it's just like we don't know a lot about it. So if you have like fear of the unknown and you have like questions like, well, what is this experience that I'm experiencing? Then yeah, it can be, there's like a big question mark, but I guess that's just something to discover, and yeah, you can just be like a normal person and still have these experiences, I guess. I wonder if there's any questions for any of the folks who feel comfortable asking or want to ask, whether it's like a personal question on my experience or I wouldn't be able to speak like on behalf of like an entire demographic of people. That's I don't think anyone should be able to represent unique experiences, but I mean, I guess, you know, I don't think I'm a spokesperson, but oh, actually, so going back to genderbread person, something really interesting to note is that you can be asexual. You can identify and still be ace and still have a family. I hope like that still makes sense to people. Like, just because you're ace doesn't mean your biological organs aren't functioning. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't, I don't know, but every case is different. But it just doesn't, it's like you can't like group it like that. I guess you can't overgeneralize it. And someone who's like asexual can express themselves any which way. They can wear clothes deemed provocative. They can show some ankle and still be asexual. Oh my gosh, right? The ankle. Clutching pearls. Oh my gosh, they're supposed to be decent. You're not decent. Therefore, you cannot be asexual. I don't know. Maybe they're just following like a trend or something. So yeah, I don't think asexual people look all the same. I think there's quite a bit of range there, and so you just wouldn't know unless you just someone told you, I guess. Unless someone tells you, hey, I'm ace. I was like, okay, cool. All right, thanks for letting me know. But yeah, I guess that's really it about today. I made a lot of preparation for the non-binary stream, which is coming up on the 19th, Sunday, April 19th. That one's going to be a bit of a doozy because it's combining two topics, non-binary and then parenting. Whereas asexuality is still pretty manageable. Asexuality. I think I remembered what I forgot. I meant to put more terminology for individuals who identify as asexual. So I'm looking it up really quick, and I kind of know maybe like, I know like maybe 2 or 3 of them, but there's like 10 of them. So I only know the ones that like kind of pertain to me, obviously. It just sticks better. Yeah, I'm glad it was helpful. And the VOD is the VOD is short. I feel like today's stream was very focused. It was a very focused stream, so I got to go over a lot of information, and I did kind of talk about my experience early on during the introduction part where I'm like, yeah, hey, I'm still this way. And so yeah, just to clarify, debunk, demystify. No, Poe is unlocked. Locked in. Yeah, I was super locked in. Yeah, just to reiterate, just because someone is ace doesn't mean they don't want to have relationships either, like friendships or romantic interests. I think if you're thinking a person who's like Aro-Ace, so aromantic and asexual, and that's something that's kind of interesting. Aromanticism. And but so going back, so there's Aro-Ace. Asexuality is an umbrella term. So within asexuality, there's something called ace flux, and it's really interesting. Some of these terms kind of sound like what they mean. So ace is kind of short for asexual. Flux means fluctuate, and fluctuation and of anything means movement, like up and down or you know, circular. But regardless, it's like it's a fluctuation of your experience. So I believe ace flux is someone whose identity within asexuality fluctuates, so they can have like, they can move between like, okay, I have like no attraction versus like, oh, I have some attraction, or now I have a little bit more attraction than usual. So they're fluctuating, and that can be very confusing. That's confusing for them, and it's probably confusing for another person who has to like interpret, you know, their signals. And this is where it gets more complicated, because the only person who can identify that they're fluctuating is the person themselves. Only they really know what they're experiencing internally in their mind, right? Where the brain is, the identity. And then how they express it. Having been myself gender queer and gender fluid for a period of time, so like when I was like around teenage versus like, or no, teenage up to like young adult, like early 20s, yeah, there was like, I was like gender fluid, so there was a lot of like fluctuations. There's like and that's kind of like my first experience of like, oh, fluctuation. And before I didn't have a term for that, and so now that I know, like, oh, that was fluctuation, that's, you know, you're shifting, like you're moving about. So on the genderbread person within the spectrum, that little bar, the colorful bar, it moves. Your identity isn't fixed. It's moving on that spectrum. And so if a person says like, hey, I'm this, and then the next day they're doing, you know, something that's a little, you know, different, they're probably, you know, if they recognize and have the self-awareness to say, oh, you know, I fluctuate. Sometimes I feel more feminine, so I'll wear more feminine clothes. Other days within, you know, the next few days, I'll feel more masculine and I'll wear my suit and tie because that's just how I feel like I want to appear. So all of that is valid. You know, it can be confusing if you want someone to just be like fixed. You just want someone to be like stationary, like stay put, don't fluctuate. In which case that rigidity, I think with the rigidity, that fixed and stable identity in a person, it gives a person like a sense of stability, right? Like you're not figuring things out, you know what you are, and everything is just like fixed. Everything is just rigid and locked in, and nothing can change, no more change. And I think that has its pros and cons, right? That has its pros and cons. But not everyone has that. I don't even know what it is. It's not an ability. It's more like not everyone has it all figured out, and there should be room within society for someone to have space to explore their identity. I was very lucky that I had that space, that opportunity, and the safety to do so, whereas not everyone does have that safety to express or explore their identity in a safe, understanding way or place or with people. So yeah, I think that's really important. Creating spaces where youth and people, young adults, can have the room and space to explore, maybe even change their minds, right? Go back, oh, maybe this is just, you know, how I am, or without, you know, being ridiculed or questioned. Like, I met a classmate many years ago. It's almost been a decade, more than a decade. And back then, on their social media, they were dating a man. They were, you know, and that was so cool. I was like, oh, I didn't, you know, you're, and at that time I was, you know, I was also queer, and, you know, so we got along just fine because we understood, like, okay, hey, it's like a community of like LGBTQ, like, you know, queer space, and everyone's chill, and it's, you know, it's all good. And then, you know, years later, you know, now they're dating a female, and they're happily in that relationship, and they're committed, and it's, you know, it's life. And so, like, I don't get upset and say, oh, you lie, you're a liar, you know, like, no, that's very mean, that's very, like, rigid, and it's also their life. At the end of the day, the person a person who chooses to, like, be with someone else, it's kind of like no one else's business, because it's not like, as an outsider, you're gonna be, like, living with them. So I don't understand, like, this need for society and governments to, like, control, or even religious institutions, I suppose, to, like, control a person's like, life, especially since it's not, like, harmful. Like, they're not, you know, they're not committing a crime. And like I said, I do follow a lot of content creators who are LGBTQ queer. There's, like, these two lesbian couples, and they both they're mothers now. They have children, and they're raising their children, and they were transparent about their process, and it inspires a lot of hope. Some other celebrities who kind of defy and go above this traditional, you know, binary or, like, man and woman family dynamic is they're from Queer Eye. Tan Fran, actually most of the cast from Queer Eye, they're men who have partners, and their partners are, you know, it's an open, like, it's a relationship that it's like a celebrity relationship, right? Everyone knows about it. So it's kind of interesting to think how we're kind of making some progress, and yeah, at the end of the day, we're just trying to live our lives, trying to find happiness, trying to figure it out, I suppose. Unless you are, what is his name? Wade Stephen Wilson. If you're Wade Stephen Wilson, then you are truly a menace to society. In which case, I don't know. I don't know how to, like I said earlier, I don't know how to think. I don't know how to think like the menace of society. We joke. You know, sometimes we joke that we are menaces of society, but we really aren't. We really are not. So, if you're not a menace to society, you're not a menace to society. You're just trying to live your life and advocate for yourself, which I think is great. And that was kind of like the whole thing of today's discussion and stream. So I guess that's all I have to say for today. Yeah, I guess that's it for now. I don't know if you guys have any questions. If you guys want to share anything, you're welcome to. Other than that, that's it. That's all I got. I'm not sure if yeah, I'm not sure if I think I covered everything, and most of the links have been provided on the on the VOD description. So yeah, you guys are, yeah, it's like you're free to investigate, figure things out, or just vibe. Is it really? Oh, I see. Okay. Thank you for the informative stream. Yeah, for sure. I'm glad that I'm glad you guys could drop by. Thank you, Pikachu. Gosh, were you there for the Professor Oak? The Professor Oak moment? Wow, we had a Pikachu here. Where's Ash Ketchum? But yup. Guess that wasn't as bad as it could have been. Could have been a lot worse. Ooh. So, yeah. So there we go. If nothing else, I guess I could just wrap up. But thank you so much for being here. And I think on Wednesday, yes, it's gonna be Wednesday, April 8th. I will be doing a workout stream. It'll be around the same time I started, but it's on Wednesday. And yeah, what else is there? I'm still preparing for the lesbian awareness stream, which is going to be Friday, April 24th. Again, same time, start time. I should probably fill that up with some more information that might be helpful. And then next month, I feel like I'm really behind. I think I might have bit off more than I can chew, but for May, the month of May is Asian American Pacific Islander month, and that'll be interesting as well, trying to talk about, you know, the Asian American experience. Yep, that's going to be interesting. As a person from the Midwest with limited Asian experience, but still able to retain some of my roots. Let me think. What else? Any updates? Is there any updates? I guess the first week of May I will be out of commission. I won't be streaming, so not even the workout. And I guess that's about it. Yeah. So I guess that's it, huh? No questions except me just body slamming the screen. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to eventually, slowly. I guess there is an update. I did mention this lightly. I didn't want to hype it up too much because there's still a lot of uncertainty, so I didn't want to say something and not be able to pull through. But I am thinking about like a 2.0 at some point, obviously. So the design's gonna be different, and we'll see. Hopefully it'll be more androgynous, like feminine, androgynous, you know, because then trying to match vibes. So we'll see. Yeah, that's been something I've been like looking into amongst a lot of other things, but I'm just taking it day by day. And spring break is over for me, so I have to go back to studying Japanese because this, you know, the class is almost over, and I feel like chapter 4 and chapter 5, and then we're going up until chapter 6 and 7 in the Genki book. It's the orange book, and I think these later chapters are gonna cause a lot of panic for me because I should study. The kanji is really difficult. So yeah, that's just like a little bit learning a new language, learning Japanese. Yeah. Yep, this is the OG Poette. This is OG, the original one, 2D model. Yep, classwork is important. Learning something new is never easy, requires putting a lot of time, energy, and effort. But yeah, it's very rewarding. And if anyone out there is, you know, curious to learn more about something like art, painting, sculpting, pottery, a sport, you know, singing, maybe a form of dance like hip hop or I don't know, like classical dancing, or what is it? I actually did take a dancing class, which was really interesting. I learned a little bit of foxtrotting and waltzing and like ballroom. It was just like a package where you learned a little bit of everything, and that was like a long time ago. Do I remember any of it? Absolutely not. I wouldn't. There's like no situation where I would need to waltz or do any of that, but it was fun. It was fun. Yeah, self-study is pretty good. So, yep, I think that's all the updates I have. Thank you. Look forward to checking in with everyone in the future again and, you know, chatting. And yeah, good luck with your current studies, Lettuce, and for anyone else who is also studying or working or figuring things out, trying to survive this economy. Yeah, ganbatte, everyone. Yeah, good job, good job. You got this. Keep going. Take care of yourself. Don't forget. So I guess that's it. That's all I got for today. It's been real. Yeah. So after stream today, I'll probably just grab something to eat and hit the books. Study some more, because it's good for the brain. It takes a lot of discipline, but it's good. I think having that discipline and focus is good for the brain. It's helping with other things. I think putting my mind towards something. Hi, Jana. See you guys next time. Thank you for those who, you know, participated, hung out. I hope this was like more of a net positive, something that was more of a net gain than anything. So yeah, jamata. See you guys. See you. I'll be here on Wednesday. So yeah, bye bye.